Okay, this is a video on how to do independent samples t-tests on SPSS, and this is actually a little bit different than the other two. So I'm going to walk you through all the data entering and things of the sort. So we will refer to the PowerPoint where I have, let's not use that one, let's use the one we actually did. We have these two data sets. So we have the no music group and we have the ska music group. This is a little bit strange since we're taking one measurement for everybody. What we're going to do is we're going to list these in the second column. Let me see here. Okay, this is what we're going to do. What we need to do is we need to assign no music a number, and it's going to be 1. They're going to be in group 1. And since there are 5 of them, we're going to put 5 numeral 1s here. 4 and 5, okay. And then since there are 5 people in group Y, or the ska music group, we're going to assign them 2. These people are in group 2, the experimental group. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and change that in variable view. This is group. All right, so this column represents whether they are in the no music group, which is represented by the number 1, or in the no music group, represented by the number 2. The problems in the book and the problems that I assign you are not going to tell you to do this, but you do need to do it. In an independent samples t-test, there's always going to be 2 groups. So you need to assign one of them one number and one of them another number. It doesn't really matter. I don't think it really matters what number you choose, but I always go with the number 1 for group 1. This is our no music condition. And number 2 for group 2, our ska music condition. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to enter the data. So the first person in group 1 completed the maze in 20 seconds. I'm just pulling my data from this side, the PowerPoint. Second person completed it in 25 seconds. Third person in 26 seconds. Fourth person in 19 seconds. Last person in 27 seconds. Okay, so now we're on to the second group. And now I'm on this right column where the ska music is. We've got 18 seconds for that first participant in group Y or group 2. Got 14 seconds for the second participant in group 2. Got 19 for the third in group 2. 13 for the fourth. And 18 for that final participant in group 2. So I'm just going to go down to variable view here and call it something else. Instead of var 00002, we'll call it music. Oh no, we won't call it that. We'll actually call it maze completion. Sure, we'll call it that. Even though it looks ugly. Like that, I'm going to pull that out. Okay, so now we can see that each row will have a group number and their corresponding seconds. So we have participant number 1 here was in group 1 and they completed the maze in 20 seconds. If we look at participant 7, for example, we can see that they are in group 2 and they completed the maze in 14 seconds. Again, participant 3, for example, was in group 1, completed the maze in 26 seconds. Participant number 10 was in group 2, completed the maze in 18 seconds. This is a bit of a different setup than you're used to, but it'll make sense in just a moment. Now to do the actual test, we're going to head up to Analyze. And again, we'll go to Compare Means that we've been doing for the other t-tests. and we're going to select independent samples t-test. All right, so this is a bit of a different thing. First of all, whichever variable that contains the thing you're measuring. In this example, we're measuring seconds to complete a maze. That's going to be our test variable. This is whatever our dependent variable is going to be. Whatever we are measuring about the participants is going to go into the test variable. This is the weird part. Grouping variable is essentially SPSS's way of saying, how are you dividing this data? And the way we do that is we select group, and we put it in here. Now it has group and 2 question marks, and then we have to define groups. Use specified values. So this is essentially SPSS's way of saying, what are your groups? So group 1 is our no music group. So we're just going to enter the value 1 because that's the value we entered for our no music group over here. For group 2, we're just going to enter a 2 because that's the value we entered over here for our ska music group. If we had used 3 for our ska music group, we would enter a 3 here. But we used 1 and 2, so I'm just going to enter 1 and 2. And this is SPSS's way of being able to indicate which 2 groups you're comparing to each other. In this case, we want to compare the means of group 1 to the means of group 2. I can't remember what cut point means, so don't do anything with that. So we're just going to hit continue. I think all the options should be okay. Yep, just leave that where they are. And then we're going to hit OK. And this should work. Okay, so this is pretty handy. Remember all those things that we computed. The number of participants is going to be right here. The mean for group 1 is going to be right across from group 1. So for group 1, we had a mean of 23.4. For group 2, we have a mean of 16.4. Let's see if that matches up with what we got in the slides. Yep, 23.4 for group 1, 16.4 for group 2. So that's consistent. We'll also show you standard deviation and standard error of mean if you are interested in those things. But really what we are interested in is down here. You can ignore the F and this leftmost sig value. What you want is T, DF, and sig two-tailed, excuse me. So here we have a T value of 3.449, and it's going to be the same for, I don't know why that's not going away. Going to be the same for both groups. We're not going to mess with equal variance is assumed or equal variance is not assumed. Just look at the top row. The bottom row is a little bit complicated to get into, so that's not something we're going to mess with this semester. So looking at the top row, we've got a T of 3.449, degrees of freedom of 8, which should match up with our degrees of freedom total that we calculated here. And yes, there it is. What else? What did we get for T? I'm kind of curious now. See if that matched, or if it's off due to rounding. 3.45 compared to 3.449. Yep, that's basically right. And then you want to look at this significance two-tailed, which is our p-value, and that is 0.009. This is less than 0.05. We would reject the null, support our hypothesis that listening to ska music helps you finish a maze faster than listening to no music, which we all know is absolutely true. So again, I think I mentioned this in the last video. If you're actually doing a one-tailed test, you'll divide this value, this p-value, by 2. So in this case, since we are doing a one-tailed test, our significance, our p-value would actually be 0.0045, I think. But that's still way less than 0.05, so still rejecting that null and all those fun things, supporting our hypothesis, etc., etc. So that is all you need to know. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll try to answer them best that I can.